Hello everyone, my name is Manolis Spinorilakis, the founder and creator of Reality Crowd TV, and welcome to a wonderful episode of our show, Crowdfunding for Mobile Applications with the crowdfunding platform AppVested.com. We have a wonderful show today for our viewers and the viewing audience, but before we get started into the nuts and bolts of our show, I'd like to just let the audience know how typically our format goes. Initially, we'll interview our guests, we'll introduce them. But during the show, we also have a question and answer application. So if at any time anyone who is watching the show has any questions, they can feel free to log into Google Events and Google Hangouts and submit their question directly through the viewing screen using the Q&A application, which you should all see on the right-hand side of your viewing screen. Additionally, you will be able to contact the guests by looking at the event copy. There's contact information there in case you'd like to check out AppVested.com, their crowdfunding platform, and you'll also be able to contact us in case you or someone you know has an interesting story to tell. So once again, audience, thank you so much for joining us. We're very excited to have our show here on crowdfunding for mobile applications. And without further ado, I'll begin to introduce our guests. So our first guest is Jeff Brokaw, the co-founder of AppVested.com. And Jeff, would you please introduce yourself to the audience? And Jeff, are you there?
Yes, I am here. I apologize. I had a little bit of a lag. So, yeah, and I'm sorry if I didn't hear your last question. So, yep.
Yeah, just introduce yourself. Yep.
So I've been doing web design, digital marketing for about 17 years now. I am also the Charlotte chapter director of Google Startup Grind and the co-founder of AppVested with my partner Matthew Worsman, who is also on the line. Matt and myself, we thought of the idea for AppVested after one too many times of people telling us that they had a great app idea. And those people who usually told us they had a great app idea, they didn't have the time, the money, the coding skills, whatever the case may be, to bring that out to market. So Matthew and myself, we've known each other for about 2 years now, and so yeah, we wanted to bring this platform to the market and just try and help out everyday entrepreneurs.
Wonderful, Jeff. Thank you for that great introduction, and we're honored to have you on the line. It's great that you're working with other entrepreneur ecosystems such as Startup Grind as well. So we're very honored to have you here. Additionally, as you mentioned, we have your co-founder Matthew Worsman with AppVested.com. And Matthew, would you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Matthew Worsman. I'm a graphic designer by trade. Been doing this for about the same 17 years experience with trying to be creative, and I usually tell people I sit around and make pretty pictures for a living, but obviously there's a little bit more into it than that. Highly passionate about brand creation, helping other small businesses develop their brand, get their name out there. 3-4 years ago, I started a company called Roxannes, and it's a turnkey branding solutions company. We provide design all the way through print fulfillment, excuse me. And I met Jeff a few years ago, like he said. We started designing some websites together. We had a couple of clients ask us about mobile application development, so we spent a few months, about 6 months ago, vetting a really, really big app, getting our feet wet in that arena. It fell through, but we kind of turned that into what we're doing today. We kind of helped gather what we learned through that process as so-called failure, and work it to our advantage and build the platform that we've launched just about 2 months ago, coming up in a few weeks, at AppVested.com. So we've put our he's the marketing guru, I do the pretty pictures, like I said, and then we've got a silent partner who does the financials and puts the last piece of the puzzle in place. So we think we've got a well-rounded platform, a good business model, and we're just waiting to see it take off. Thanks for having us this evening, by the way.
Oh, Matthew, pleasure, and thank you for that great introduction of yourself and of your platform. and you said a key point. I mean, failures are only failures if you don't learn from them. And when you parlay them into something bigger and better, that's when it's a success that entails. So wonderful. So now I'd really like to actually begin the show with our first real topic and our question. And no better way to answer a question than some videos. So the first video we're going to show to answer the topic of what is crowdfunding, specifically on the equity and debt-based crowdfunding model, which many of our viewers may be new to or unfamiliar with. We're going to show a video from the White House that shows a young lady who explains the process much better than I could personally. So I will share that video and we'll listen to the What is Crowdfunding video, and that will hopefully help the audience be on the same page on exactly what equity and debt-based crowdfunding is.
Crowdfunding is a concept that's been around for a long time. It's the idea of passing around the basket at church in its oldest incarnation, of a large crowd of people being able to contribute small amounts, which in aggregate meet the financial goal of any organization, group, or individual. And so when you look at crowdfunding and how it's evolved, the reason it's become a buzzword recently is because it's gone online. So the potential of it has expanded exponentially. The crowdfunding bill is important for small businesses because it creates access to capital. Access to capital that currently is very hard to come by. The basic concept of what this will mean for entrepreneurs and investors is that an entrepreneur will post a description, a very thorough description of their business, the finances, the business plan, what they're going to do with the money, the budget, etc. And they're going to be able to share this opportunity with anyone they so choose. Most likely it'll be their customers, friends and family, might be Twitter followers, people who share an affiliation with them that they think might be interested, etc. The investor will then pledge a certain amount of capital that they want to invest. If the fundraising goal is met for how much money that entrepreneur is looking for, then the money will transfer to the entrepreneur. So it's an all or nothing arrangement. What I hope that America will now see is that after the SEC rulemaking period is done on the crowdfunding bill, approximately 9 months from now, and platforms can be created and launched that allow for crowdfunding, that entrepreneurs who currently feel like, I strongly believe that crowdfunding is not just for high-tech businesses. I, in fact, think that the majority of people are going to be using this in the long run. The majority of businesses in the country are small businesses, and that's who can really take advantage of this.
So she says it so eloquently. You know, the way that she says it in the first 14 seconds. Take the concept of passing around the basket at church, where a group of people contribute to an individual with a need. Put that concept online, apply it to things other than charities, such as small business, tech, mobile applications, you name it, and that is crowdfunding. Plus, you're incorporating the equity and debt-based model into actual ownership or lending. So before I turn it over to you, gentlemen, I want to show the audience what AppVested does using equity and debt-based crowdfunding, so that the audience can know exactly how AppVested works. So give me one moment, and we'll play another quick video that will explain AppVested.
Do you have what you think could be the next great app idea, but have no clue where to begin? Well, current projections show that revenue generated by mobile applications could reach the $70 billion mark by 2017. And the equity crowdfunding market is expected to hit $93 billion by 2025. It's easy to see why so many people are shifting their focus to developing the next great app idea. However, building a successful mobile application is no small undertaking. It takes time, money, and a dedicated team to build, market, and launch a successful mobile application. And until now, there hasn't been a good solution for people like yourself. We are AppVested, an equity-based crowdfunding portal that connects serious, accredited investors to carefully vetted mobile application ideas in need of funding. By selecting only the most opportune app ideas brought forth by willing and creative-minded entrepreneurs, we look to develop, launch, and market each app idea using our proprietary app valuation process. If your app idea passes our rigorous testing, we'll present it on our platform to facilitate its funding. We have eager investors, AppVestors, waiting to gain a stake in the next great app idea. In return for your funded app idea, you'll receive royalties based on any revenue generated by the mobile application. Our platform is free to join, and submitting an app idea takes less than 10 minutes. The only cost to you is the potential money lost by not submitting your app idea today. AppVested.com, where bright ideas and smart money meet.
Excellent. That was a beautiful video. It really just pulls it all together. It shows how equity and debt-based crowdfunding will be used through your platform to fund the next great app idea. And so let me have you guys explain it in your own terms. How are you as AppVested? Tell us about the crowdfunding model and exactly how are you leveraging the new laws in place to actually utilize equity and debt-based crowdfunding. And Jeff, if you can, would you like to take that question? How is under what auspices are you using the new regulations on equity and debt-based crowdfunding to be able to do crowdfunding using AppVested, the platform?
So we are currently, as you said, in regulation with Title II or 506C. For people who don't know about that, it's been in regulation since September of last year. And pretty much what it means is that we can now legally solicit. Any company can now go out, as long as they're accredited with 506C, and they can legally solicit to other accredited investors. And what an accredited investor is somebody who makes $200,000 a year if they're single, $300,000 if they are married, household income, and we can actually now go out and legally ask them to invest in mobile applications or for any other equity crowdfunding type of situation. So what we've done with AppVested is right now we are going to go out and solicit equity crowdfunders, people who are accredited through Title II of the Jobs Act, 506C, and we are actually going to ask them to invest in our mobile applications.
Wonderful, and just to clarify for the audience too, the 2012 Jobs Act is a piece of legislation that became law, and it was essentially created because of the wonderful traction that Indiegogo and Kickstarter was receiving. The government saw that if it works for the rewards-based model of crowdfunding that is currently done on Indiegogo and Kickstarter, whereby a contributor contributes to a project they believe in exchange for a reward, they said to themselves, if it works for that, where people are not actually earning a financial return, can it work for small businesses who might be able to provide a financial return to investors? And so in 2012, what Jeff was referring to is the 2012 Jobs Act, and there are 7 specific provisions, and the provision that is allowing AppVested to fund deals currently is Title II of the 2012 Jobs Act. And in Title II, it allows for that general solicitation of investors through the internet as long as they meet a certain wealth threshold known as the accreditation standard. So Jeff, that was a great explanation of how you're able to do that. And so is there on the horizon the ability for anyone, regardless of income, to eventually be able to invest?
So yeah, what we're looking at now is Title III, which will allow anybody to invest in any equity crowdfunding portal. Now there are going to be restrictions based on your income. So it could be based how much you make a month, how much you make a year. All those laws haven't been laid into place. The one thing that is true is that you will have a max per company of $1 million raised for every 12 months, and that's going to go into Title III of the Jobs Act. So the one issue, at least that we saw with AppVested with that, is that if we can only raise $1 million per year, how is that going to make us and help accredited investors make the most money? And even when it comes down to CrowdCube, you have these other equity crowdfunding portals that are raising literally hundreds of million dollars a year. That's going to put a restriction on them. And that's the biggest issue we see with Title III of the Jobs Act, if it puts a $1 million cap limit on that. So what AppVested has done to, I would say, work around that is we are going to open up a new LLC for every single offering that we put up on our platform. So if we offer 10 new apps for funding per month, then we're going to put up 10 new LLCs, 10 new companies, and we're actually going to issue a new company for every single offering that we have on the AppVested platform.
Great. So that's how the legalities are handled, by actually maintaining these applications and the ownership structures in separate companies for each app. And I'd like to bring Matthew in on this as well. Matthew, your video explained what AppVested was from the perspective of someone who wants to bring an app idea to life. Now, the way it works on your platform currently, you can only invest if you are a wealthy individual at present due to the financial regulations. But if you're an individual who has a great app idea, you don't have to be wealthy to come to your platform, do you?
No, and that's exactly why we've worked the pay structure how we have it now. So there's two sides to the coin. We have AppVentors and we have AppVestors. AppVentors are the individuals that bring us these app ideas. They're the creative-minded entrepreneurs that have a vision. They don't have the time, the money, the skill set, the combination of any of those things to see their vision to fruition. So they could spend 10 minutes pitching us their idea. In exchange, we put the app idea, each app idea, through a careful app evaluation process. We don't take every single app idea. We have to make sure that there's nothing pre-existing, any type of infringements, or just monetization. We have to have some type of way to bring investors' money back to their pockets. So on the other side of the coin are the AppVestors. They're the accredited investors. They're the smart money, as we like to say. They get to see the offerings that we do put through the ringer and have passed the app valuation process. We offer them on our platform to the AppVestors, and they get to, in exchange for their investment, receive equity. So they actually get a piece of the actual LLC that we create for each app. On the other side of the coin, the AppVestors, the AppVentors will receive a royalty. There's a fine line. There's kind of a gray area to where right now, within Title II, we can't offer equity for the AppVentors, so we're giving them royalties. We're giving them an industry standard 2%, and that's from the top line. The investors and AppVested, we make our money from the bottom line. So we're trying to bring fair and real value to all parties involved until it evolves. The Title III passes, and we can kind of evolve with the laws that are in place. But right now, we think we've got a good system in place for maximizing everybody's potential of making some money and being that entrepreneur and having a different diversified portfolio for the investors.
Wonderful. So you're providing that marketplace in between the AppVentor, who is the inventor of the app idea, and between the AppVestor, who is the investor who is ultimately funding the app idea. I love the creativity behind the naming scheme. It's just such a great branding that you guys have done for AppVested. And so when you guys do the due diligence, so when you say put them through the ringer, what type of things should an AppVentor be prepared to provide your platform? Because I believe at present you're currently going through a process to do the due diligence right now on a recent campaign to get ideas to come to your platform. So Jeff, would you like to kind of tell us exactly how would an AppVentor, what do they need to bring you, and what due diligence will you put them through when they come to your platform?
Yeah, so definitely. So what an AppVentor is, and like Matt said, you literally only need 5 to 10 minutes to do this, and that's the beauty of our platform. We take people who have great ideas but don't have the time, money, or coding skills, and they can come to our platform, submit their idea, have it over to us within 5 minutes. So once it comes over to us, what we do is we do a number of things. So the first thing is we look at monetization, like Matt said. We're looking at, we want to make money. We want the AppVestors to make money, and we want the AppVentors to make money. We're all in it for the ultimate goal. That's easier said than done, where statistics proves that less than 1% of apps make money. So we look at data. The first thing we look at is competitive analysis. We want to see what the industry is doing, what the market's doing, what everything else in that specific competitive market is doing. We want an original idea. We don't want to rip off anybody else's idea. We want original, unique ideas, and that brings something new to the table. So we're very selective as to what we pick. And that's for a number of reasons, like I just mentioned. We do want to make money for all parties involved. AppVested will never be successful by taking the old same recycled ideas. So as we do take all app ideas on our platform, we're really looking for unique ideas. So once we get them, we look at a competitive analysis and make sure that there's nothing like it out there. From there, we also look at how is that category performing. Is it up over the last 6 months? Is it down over the last 6 months? We also look at our direct competitors. How are they monetizing the app? Are they monetizing the app with in-app purchases? Are they using banner ads? So we come up with a whole marketing strategy when the app is submitted to us. We come up with an entire user design interface. We come up with a user experience interface. Pretty much what we do is we mold the idea. You can come to us with just a little idea and we'll mold it into everything. We'll figure out the 5 key steps or the 6 key steps that you need to have a successful mobile application that can be up there and compare with Clash of the Clans or the Candy Crush or whatever the top 10 app might be. And we want all of our apps, that's our ultimate goal, is that our apps are going to be competing with these big boys. So that's what we do.
Great. I mean, so in other words, just so I understand too, someone can come with just a great idea but no actual app developed, and if it is a great enough idea and the people behind the idea can actually help produce it, that's all they really need is a great idea. They don't have to have the actual background of an application developer.
Well, yeah, exactly, and that's the beauty of AppVested, and they don't even need to really bring anything else. If they can just come to us with a short elevator pitch and a short description of the app, we have a in-house team. We have people here in our hometown that we have selected that can develop the app. We can market the app. We design the graphics for the app. We take care of every last aspect. So if you just have this small of an idea, we can blow it up into this, and that's who we're for people who have great ideas but don't have the time, money, or resources to bring them to life.
That is incredible, and in fact, I might just spam your inbox with all these ideas that I have. But
well, we would love it. So.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And so Matthew, I guess so people can understand the use case of why this is needed. What were some challenges before AppVested was around that AppVested is looking to solve in mobile application development? How challenging is it to create an app, and what problems is AppVested specifically solving currently?
Yeah, and that's a good question. We actually we posted a blog last night, late last night, early this morning, called "Digital Disasters: the top 5 reasons mobile applications fail." And there's a lot of reasons, but we narrowed it down to the top 5. Number 1, well, these are in no particular order, but what we have in our blog is running with a bad idea. So a lot of independent developers or just entrepreneurs that think they have a great app idea and really haven't put the research behind it. It's easy to fall in love with what you think is a good idea without having run it by a bunch of people or say you run it by a bunch of people that you're close with, your friends and family. We've all seen them on like Dancing with the Stars, or not Dancing with the Stars, but the singing shows where everybody says, oh, it's a good idea for you to go and sing, you'll get voted in, you have a great voice, and they're horrible. But same way, a lot of people have good ideas that aren't really great ideas, and they'll take the money, they'll take their time and money, and develop something that really doesn't have legs, something that they haven't really researched. Maybe they're developing something that already exists, and that's just a bad thing. You've got to put your research into it. You've got to do your due diligence and make sure that there's a market for what you're trying to sell. So that's one of the areas. The next one we have is neglecting basic design principles. So back to Jeff's point of where we will be designing or developing the user experience, the UI and the UX, user interface and the user experience. Books are judged by their covers. It's just a simple fact. Something looks good. You're walking down the grocery store aisle. I always like to use this comparison. You've got two similar products on the shelf that, one of them's in a nice, shiny, polished, well-designed box, and the other one's not so much, but they're the same price point. You're always going to pick up the nice and pretty box. That's, you got to bring a highly polished, very well-looking application to market, and it's got to function properly. So the user interface has to lead the users down the right paths, make it easy to navigate, and pretty much, they can figure it out on their own without too much instruction. So not neglecting the design principles is a key to developing a successful application, and not doing so is a failure. Something that will lead you down the wrong path. Another one we have is outsourcing. So a lot of companies or a lot of people will, entrepreneurs that have this idea or an idea and some money maybe, but don't have any type of development skills. They don't know any coding or anybody who does. So they'll find somebody overseas, or they'll bid their job out to anybody and everyone, and the lowest bid usually wins that. That's a mistake, because outsourcing, you can get a cheap product, but you usually get what you pay for. You usually in the long run end up spending more money and time trying to redo shoddy work, shoddy programming, design, and things like that. That most people get to that point and their app's dead before they even launch it, because they've run out of funds and they're trying to reinvent the wheel when it's it's already dead in the water. So another key point, or a key avenue that people don't really pay attention to, or they try to pay attention to but don't do it well, is the marketing. So you've got a product, you've put it through your vetting process. You know that it's viable. There's a market out there for it. You've got a good development team. You've got your design, and everything's ready to go. But you fail to properly market the idea or the application. And that's huge. You got to allocate a certain amount of money in your budget to getting your app out there. If you've got a pretty product and it's sitting, in the back of some warehouse and nobody sees it, it's not going to get bought. So it's kind of the same thing. You've got to get seen. So you've got to spend your money, or not even always spending money. Sometimes you can get some publicity. It's just there's many avenues in which you could drive people to your product and to the app store to purchase your app. So that's what we try to focus in on as well. There's many pieces to this puzzle, and doing them all right is going to set you up for success, and not doing just one of these things. Doing one of these things improperly will set you up for failure. Absolutely. Last thing we have in our blog post is not following up. So you've launched your application, you've done a little marketing, but you're getting some bad reviews, and you're not really paying attention to what those people are saying. You're kind of taking them as just negative criticism instead of constructive criticism. And not paying attention to the user feedback is going to set you up for failure as well, because you want to take the people that are actually using your product and taking the time to give you feedback, and you want to heed their advice. If you could make their user experience better by listening to them, if you got 30 people every day saying, oh, this needs to be changed or this and that, more than likely it needs to be fixed, or addressed. So you've got to constantly maintain, and that goes along the same thing with bug fixes and upgrades and updates to keep people interested in your app. So there's many pieces to the puzzle, and just missing one of them is going to pretty much you're going to fall into that 99% of the people who develop apps that aren't successful. So by bringing everything together, identifying the pieces to the puzzle that need to be in place, we hope to make that 1%, or at least for our AppVestors and AppVentures alike, if we could make that 10%, that'd be a huge leap. So any value that we could bring with our app valuation process, we feel is what really is going to set us apart from just your everyday developer.
Wonderful. That was a robust answer, and I'm very grateful for that. That blog post at the end of the show, we'll post that for the audience so that they could actually see those 5 pitfalls of mobile app development. But actually, it spawned a question too. So I'm gonna send this question to Jeff. This is from a friend of ours, Denarius Lewis. He asks the question. Now, can AppVested be used for apps that have been created and are in the Apple Store / Android marketplace already, but the marketing just wasn't there? So the app has been created, the idea has been created, but it just needs a rebranding or a relaunch. So Jeff, can someone relaunch an app using AppVested?
So at this current time, what we are focused on 100% is brand new, unique app ideas. That doesn't say that maybe down the road that we won't evaluate this, but at this current time, we are just looking for people who have brand new, unique, original app ideas that have never been brought to market to go through our app valuation process. So the short answer is no at this time. We are not looking for apps like that, but as you know, with a startup and a new company, we could always change and reconsider, but no, at this time we are not.
Let me also, if I may interject, we won't necessarily kill an app if there's something out there similar, because if you have an app idea that builds on an existing app idea that brings added value, and there's just there's enough change to where it could really set it apart, we will consider that type of app idea. There's almost 5 million apps out there between the Google Play and the iOS store, the Apple Store now. So there's going to be some apps that overlap, but if you have that extra functionality and that added value that we could really market and monetize, then we're going to we'll consider it indeed.
And so that's a great question as well, because here's another issue too. In this field where a user is generating app ideas, do they need to have patent protection on their idea before they come to you? I mean, what is your recommendation on what protection that the app vendor should have, and is there protection for them to ensure that their idea won't get taken? I mean, knowing you guys, I know that that's not what you guys would do. I know you guys are great people, but I'm saying, like, if someone says, what stops you from taking my idea, what would you say to that?
Well, first, we've spent countless dollars on our legal team, so they've got all the copy in place that protects everyone involved, not just the app vendor, but the AppVested as well. So we're not going to take anyone's app idea. Once you put it through our system and we vet it, we're only going to launch that application through our platform. We're not going to take it and develop anything on the side or share that idea with anyone. We've got a close-knit circle that we put the app valuation process through. It's all in-house, and those ideas do not leave the building. And yeah, so your app idea is 100% safe with us. And yeah, we would never, like you said, we're good people. We would never take your app idea and not count you in on it.
Great. No, thank you for that, because I a lot of times too, a lot of entrepreneurs come and they always want to sign NDAs, and so obviously IP protection is intellectual property is vitally important. But I oftentimes tell people, and this may not be what lawyers like to hear, but I tell people this: if you cannot afford to get a patent on your idea, whether it's for an application or some other type of invention, and you're just using that as the reason why you just can't move forward, well, someone's going to get that idea eventually and move forward without a patent. And there's a certain amount of protection that you have for being a first mover on a unique idea. So, I mean, to those people who are having that roadblock, it may not be the best legal advice ever to give somebody, and I'm not an attorney, but I would rather, act first and apologize later, so long as I'm not infringing on someone's idea. If I'm the first to a unique idea, but I just can't afford $10,000 or whatever it might be for a patent, to me, I think you move forward. You don't just use that as an excuse to say, oh, well, I guess I could never do this.
And to that point, that's a very good point. It's really hard to get a patent for a mobile application these days. you have to have really something really special, a very unique API or algorithm that's just totally different from anything else out there. The more issue that you're going to run into with applications or trademarking, copyright infringements, things like that. But if you have something that you think is truly special and that it warrants having a patent, we can, and if you've gone so far as already starting the process, we can still help with that. You can still pitch us your app idea. We'll put that through our legal process. We'll be like, yes, we really do need to get this patent going. So we'll take the time and we'll get that added into the investment round of the application. So we take care of that for you. So if you don't have that $10,000 to get that patent, and we think it very much warrants having one, we're going to do that. We're going to have that in the round of funding. We'll build that into the cost. We'll get it funded, or we will do our best to get it funded, I should say, and keep that patent, that proprietary information all within the AppVested family. AppVentures and investors being part of that family, of course.
Of course, wonderful, and that leads to another question, and I'll bring that to you, Jeff, again. This question is from a Google Plus user, System D. If the app requires custom hardware, like an app and hardware accessory for a mobile phone, would that be a candidate for AppVested? How would the royalties work?
No, that is definite. Yes, that's what we're looking for, to be honest. I mean, I shouldn't say what we're looking for, but me and Matt and the whole AppVested team, we're looking in the future. So we're looking at Google Glass, smart watches. We're looking at smart TVs. We're looking at everything. We know what the trends that are coming are. So if somebody has an idea, and it might even be 2 or 3 years too early, well, that's really what keeps us up at night. We're excited about that. We know what the future is of mobile technology. There's a stat that I saw, or that we've all seen, quite a few of us. It shows the mobile application market that did $150 billion last year. It's projected to do over $400 billion by 2016. So, I mean, the mobile application market, the wearable tech market, the smart TV market, anything mobile app related or app related is still in its infancy. So if somebody has an idea out there and they might think it might be a little too new or too ahead, that's really, we would love to hear that idea, because those are those billion-dollar buyouts that you see a few years from now. So yes, definitely. And as far as the royalty question that he asked, our royalties, as Matt said before, and as we have on AppVested.com, we are completely industry standard. If anybody has any questions specifically relating to that, they can email info@appvested.com, and we'll be glad to address any concerns or questions that they have.
Great, thank you for that. That does answer the question, and I agree with you. It seems like right now the trend is app plus hardware to be the trend. It's more interactive to have two pieces of technology interacting with each other to make life easier. So it seems like that's the trend. And in fact, we're actually working with a crowdfunding campaign that is doing just that. So it's very interesting. I should actually introduce them to you guys.
Nice. I love that.
So very good. So switching to the next question, in our topic, we've talked about the challenges of developing a mobile application. We talked a little bit about how mobile applications were brought to market traditionally. You want to actually go into that piece a little bit more in detail. So traditionally, now that the world is getting more technological, more internet-based, more social, how is crowdfunding allowing people to leverage these new technologies to bring app ideas to life? What makes your platform so much better than the old way of bringing a mobile app to life? And that could be for you, Jeff, if you'd like to take that question.
So, with that said, there really was no way before AppVested, and you can correct us if we're wrong, but before AppVested, there was no way in the States to bring an app to market unless you had time, unless you had money, or unless you had coding skills. Those were the only three ways. So what we wanted to do, and Matt and I heard it time and time again, and I'm sure 99% of your crowd can say that they know somebody, if it's not even themselves, saying I have a great app idea, or have said that in the past. So what we did is we brought along AppVested, and what we wanted to do is take these bright individuals with these great app ideas who have no idea how to bring them to market. So they come to our website, they submit their app idea, and I mean, we take care of the rest for them, you know? I mean, there's nothing that's been done like this before for the application market. So we just wanted to make it simple. Like I said, I know that there's some software out there that will make mobile applications for you. We're not trying to do all that bring those cheap and, with all due respect, cheesy, generic applications. We have our in-house development team that builds custom catered apps, anything up from app to literally a multi-million-dollar app, anything at the stage that we're at. So we just want the creativity and our app vendors' minds to be the sky's the limit. So we want to be able to bring any app to market.
Great, and you're right, and that is the unique value proposition, is that as long as you have a great idea, there's no prior experience necessary, because AppVested is not only the funding platform, but is also the team that will help you bring that idea to life. So that is a crucial, new, revolutionary, and innovative model that you guys are bringing to market, because all someone needs is a great idea, and they have the potential to bring that idea to life through AppVested. So Matthew, I'd like to switch now to one of our last questions, which is really just predicting the future. I know it's really hard to do that. No one can truly predict the future. But where do you see crowdfunding moving to? You know, you could talk about equity crowdfunding. You could talk about mobile crowdfunding. What do you see the future? And then I'll also give Jeff the opportunity to answer that question as well. But where do you see the future of crowdfunding moving?
Certainly. So, you know, everybody knows the Indiegogos, the Kickstarters of the world, the rewards-based crowdfunding platforms. It's really where crowdfunding got its name and got started. Now that the Title II or the Jobs Act has been, initiated and is, making its rungs and, being passed, new laws into regulation each month, that it's really evolving to where it's going to be equity crowdfunding base is going to be really large. It's projected, like we showed in our our short teaser or introductory videos, that I believe by 2025 the equity crowdfunding market is supposed to reach $93 billion, and that's with a B. So that's obviously just enormous potential there. And when you mix that with, by just 2017, the mobile application market, which should reach $72 billion, I believe it is. Combining the two arenas together just really just puts the potential out there for just exponential growth. So we think that there's really no stopping the train that is equity crowdfunding and crowdfunding in general. There's a lot of talk nowadays also about some lending-based crowdfunding and peer-to-peer type deal. But we really think that the equity, where we're giving the investors in the company pieces of that pie, that's really where it's headed, and it's where it's going to remain for the foreseeable future.
Absolutely, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I believe even more so too when the unaccredited investor finally comes out too. I think that'll be important as well. And then Jeff, same question. Industry predictions for the future of crowdfunding.
So here is my bold prediction. So I really think, and Matt really hit the key point, so I'm going to go more out on the ledge, but we have people dealing with penny stocks right now, these investors dealing with, we have real estate investors, we have business investors. I really think as our market grows and equity crowdfunding is expected to grow from $3 billion to $93 billion, by 2025, which is a 6,100% increase. I really see that there's going to be a lot more accredited investors. These day traders, they're going to be going more to crowdfunding platforms. We see these huge penny stocks going on right now. Even look at Wolf of Wall Street, one of the biggest films of the last couple of years, and that got people started on investing on these little stocks. I see a lot of them, especially when Title III passes, and there are no regulations as what an accredited investor is. I really see people moving onto this platform and investing online, and not necessarily with AppVested. We want to take a piece of the pie, but there's going to be people doing equity crowdfunding for real estate, for brick and mortar businesses, for new internet companies, for mobile apps like us. So I really see the future of stock trading and investing moving over to equity crowdfunding in the next 5 to 10 years.
Absolutely, I can see that too, and I agree with you. There is that potential to get the flood of people to come in once people understand what's happening. Once anyone, regardless of income, will be able to invest, there will be a flood initially just to understand how to do this, because it's intriguing to be able to invest directly into a company where you can see everything about them. It's a transparent marketplace that's about to be introduced, and I sometimes joke, I almost think instead of fantasy football, there might be fantasy crowdfunding, tables around the country. People like coming together and saying, guys, let's meet the 10 of us. We're an investment club. Let's all learn about this company, see how they monetize, and let's make an investment in a small business across America and help contribute not only to the wealth of our pockets, but to the economic growth of our society. So I feel as if there is going to be that movement. The social aspect of crowdfunding will not be lost in equity and debt. Once the financial returns are there, I think the story of these entrepreneurs will be just as intriguing as if they were doing the rewards-based crowdfunding model today. So there's going to be a lot of interesting developments and innovative entrepreneurs who are going to use the story plus a great idea to receive outsized funds that will then help them succeed and battle the big boys of society.
Yeah, agreed.
Exciting. So let's actually switch really quick too to where you guys are right now. When will we actually be able to see the first app ideas on your platform, whereby investors who are accredited can actually invest?
So we are in the process of cleaning up the back end for the investment side portal, the APIs. We're testing those this week. We're hoping to shore everything up, and we've got actually three app idea offerings that we will be posting, we hope, early next week if everything falls into place. So next week we're going to open it up. We've been in soft launch for basically the past month and a half, and we're going to open the floodgates and just see what happens. It's super exciting. It's been a long 6 months to get everything into place, and yeah, we couldn't be more excited with the app ideas that we've been receiving, and yeah, to just reach this milestone has been exciting, and it's going to be the next couple weeks will be, I'm sure, a bunch of sleepless nights as we see how things go, but yeah, we're excited to be where we are.
Great, and so just so the audience understands, 3 out of how many did you guys look at that you've only selected 3? Out of how many apps were submitted?
We've had over the past month and a half about 55 app ideas submitted to us. So I'm not a mathematician, but that's a very small number in percentage-wise of the ideas that we've taken, we've evaluated, and we've picked 3 out of those 55 to 60, I would say, to put on the platform as our full launch proceeds.
Great. So that shows exactly how much due diligence there is, because everybody can have an idea, but for the idea to have legs, there obviously has to be some very special components to that. And there's a young lady, Roxanne, who I think has an idea that she put on the Q&A application. I'll ask her to reach out to you privately as well. But let me I'll just repeat this as well, just real quick. She's wanted to get medical equipment that's portable, in other words, ultrasound or EKGs, into areas without doctors there to read the studies. if an emergency happens, you could send images to them through the equipment to the viewing area. So she's thinking of an app idea whereby, instead of having to go to an actual doctor's office, the application can take all of the vital signs and perhaps even eliminate the need to go directly to the doctor. Is that something that you would like her to send you more information on?
Oh, definitely, yes, Roxanne. We would love that if you would send that to us. So we'll put it through our vetting process, and yeah, definitely see if there's anything else out there like that, and just take it through the steps.
Yeah, because really there's no bad ideas. There's ideas that we've received, and I'm sure we will receive, that we're like, oh, well, it's so obvious it has to be done. And you see those on the late night infomercials. You'll see this invention that someone's come up with that they're selling for $19.99, and it's just the most obvious idea ever, and it's kind of one of those like, why didn't I think of that moments? And these app ideas, we've gotten one where we're like, oh, this has to exist already, and we're like, all right, well, let's do it, let's vet it, and see if that's the case, and it's not the case. It doesn't exist already, and it's one of those aha moments, as we like to call it, to where it seems so obvious that it's just simple and should already exist, but it doesn't. So obviously, having that first to market, and that's such an obvious, problem, has been solved. That's almost a surefire winner if we do our jobs correctly. So we, every idea that we receive, we don't take lightly. We want to put it through the process and make sure that we can do our thing with it. Or if not, we encourage people to go back to the drawing board and come up with more ideas, because the more the merrier, and the more fish the more lines you have in the water, the more fish you're going to catch. So, and like you said, the failure aspect of it, we don't really consider anything a failure. We consider it something that we learn by and take to the next step, and we'll do something bigger and better with what we've learned from that so-called failure.
Yeah, I honestly think Roxanne is onto something. Imagine virtual doctor appointments where they use some sort of mobile app to take the vitals, and then they do a Google Hangout on air to like show them where it hurts. There could be something there.
We're gonna have doctors knocking on Roxanne's door and our door, trying to wonder why we're putting them out of business before the night's over. So
exactly. No, I agree with you. I think that could be very interesting. Great. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to give you each the last word, and then we're going to sign off for the evening. So, Matthew, any last words for the audience?
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. As I'm sure you could probably tell, I'm not very comfortable speaking on camera yet. I'm a designer. My face is usually in the computer, so I'm not real big on talking to a bunch of people at the same time. Luckily, I can only see Manolis and Jeff, so I'm not really, it hadn't been too bad for me. But we appreciate you taking the time to get on this evening, listen to us run our mouths, and hopefully you've learned something and gained a little interest, and you'll stop by the website and maybe pitch an idea or two, or sign up as an accredited investor, whichever the case may be. We'd be happy to talk with you, and maybe get an app out there in development.
Great, Matthew. Thank you so much. And once again, that website is AppVested.com. And then also, Jeff, for you, any last words for the audience?
Yeah, and to add to Matt's point, and I apologize, I had a bit of a lag all night, so if I was delayed in my responses, I apologize. But we're really looking forward to have people come to AppVested.com. We haven't seen anything out there like it, so we think it's a great opportunity for anybody who's had an app idea, any idea in general, to come out and submit it. And hopefully, like Matt said, the more ideas that you throw out there, the more that hopefully that we'll get. And so keep submitting ideas, and let's see what we can all do together, and let's all try and make some money together through AppVested.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, it has been a very sincere pleasure to have you both on. AppVested.com seems like a very revolutionary platform for individuals who have great ideas, who need that support to bring the funding to them after molding it into a marketable solution, and then, of course, presenting that to app investors, who then are able to fund and earn a return on this investment. So once again, gentlemen, thank you so much. For the audience, thank you all for joining us. Without you watching our show, we wouldn't be able to do this every week. So thank you very much. And until next time, dream it, believe it, achieve it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.